Diane, you have a legacy also. Your family has a wonderful story and a tragic story. And you are living to honor your mom also, right?
That's correct. That is correct. And we do it because we're so blessed to have, well, first of all, both of my parents. My father died young, when I was very young. He died in a car accident, but my mom, she's been gone 10 years. And every day we honor her and her memory. And we actually opened up a restaurant 5 years ago called Violas Ventanas. And Kathy and Lionel were very much a big part of it. As a matter of fact, if you walk into Los Barrios, the original, there's this gorgeous, big, beautiful painting of my mother that Kathy did. And it's beautiful, and we love it. And she has a story to tell about that portrait, but you'll have to ask her because she was inspired beautifully. And so with her permission, she allowed us to use it as part of Violas Ventanas restaurant, where we honor my mom every single day. And it's amazing. San Antonio is really big, but it's really small, and it's all family, and it's a beautiful community. And I'm just so grateful that my grandfather, my mother's father, brought my mother over here from Mexico, and she met my father, and the rest is history. And we have this beautiful, beautiful legacy that we continue to honor them because, well, we wouldn't be here without them, but what they taught us and the lessons that we learned, the culture, the bicultural education that they instilled in us my whole life, and something that we get to share. Our little cookbook, it's amazing. It's gone all over the place, and we've gotten to be on TV all over the place. We got invited to go to the White House in 2010 and cook at the congressional picnic and make puffy tacos. I mean, because our cookbook talks about puffy tacos, and then Bobby Flay talked about puffy tacos and showed them on TV, and then they took us to the White House, and a friend of mine said, okay, that's it. When you go cook for the Pope, I'm going with you. I said, well, I'm waiting. I'm still waiting for that invitation. But I mean, it is amazing how this little book has gotten us into so many places. I've done TV shows, A Day in the Life of a San Antonian that aired all over Europe and all over the place. Had a customer come in the other day and she says they're from Europe but they live here, and her husband's European, she is an American, but they live here now. She subscribes to this channel, and she walked in, she's like, you did great on that show. And I'm like, what show are you talking about? Because nobody's ever said anything about that show. And she said, I saw it and you made me so proud. And I was like, well, I'm so glad that somebody saw it. They liked it, and they told us. I did another show where they came and it was filmed in my home, and really talking about the casero style of cooking that we do, which is what we do in our restaurants. It's what my mom started doing. And this show aired in Germany and Switzerland and Austria, and the host was doing the whole show in German, and then he talked to me in English, and then he translated it back in German. I'm like, how long is this show gonna last? It went back and forth. I didn't understand anything, but it was a lot of fun. And so we've been blessed and honored that we have been able to represent our city and showcasing the warmth, the beauty of San Antonio. And never say never. Never in a million years did we think we would get a cookbook offer. It was something that was never in the works. We didn't think about it, but here we have it, and it still sells. And I think really one of the greatest compliments we've ever had is when a woman came into the restaurant with her siblings, well, with some of her family, not all of them. She says, our grandmother raised us because, our parents weren't around, and our grandparents raised us, and so our grandmother was the cook in the family, and I'm the oldest of 10 siblings, She said, and when my grandmother passed away, my siblings came to me and said, well, do you know how to cook what abuela used to make? And she was like, no, because they didn't have anything written down. They didn't have a cookbook. And so, but she was the oldest and she felt that responsibility. And she said, but I'm going to work on it. She didn't know how to make arroz con pollo, which was the very first recipe she started with. So she took our cookbook and she read the recipe and she made it. And she said, well, it doesn't taste like my abuela's, but I know that my abuela added this, and I remember she added that. So little by little she practiced, and she'd call her siblings and say, y'all come on over, I tried it, so you guys come and tell me what I'm lacking. And so it allowed her family to get together. They still do this once a month, and she cooks. And it started with the arroz con pollo. She's done the fideo, and they all remember parts of the recipe of their grandmother, but they had no idea how to even start. And they didn't even know how to start to cook. Like, she's like, do you boil the chicken? Do you roast the chicken for arroz con pollo? And so she's like, I looked at your recipe, it's easy, and I just copied it, and it came out. And that's the beautiful thing about our recipe book. These recipes do work. They're very easy to follow. But that story of that family reuniting around a table to share a meal, 10 siblings and their kids. I said, are you going to open up a restaurant? Because you cook for a lot of people now. And so, I mean, it's a beautiful story, and stories like that just continue to make us feel good about the decision to write the book. And yes, there are restaurant recipes in there, and yes, we put all of the ingredients except for one. But I'll tell you what that one recipe is, because this is what my mother said. We're going to tell them everything they want to know, but they are responsible for the last ingredient, and that's puro corazón. It's from your heart. You got to cook with love, because when you're mad and you cook, that's when it's super spicy, and you can't even eat it because you're so mad. And you love this. That's what my mom would say. She was never mad. At least not with me. My brother, I don't know about that. What do you think, Lionel? Do you think she was ever mad at Louis? Lionel?
I'm sorry?
Do you think my mother was ever mad at Louis? Because my mother never got mad at me.
You know, your mother never got mad at your mother never got mad at anybody. She had the biggest heart of gold there ever was. And every time anybody came into her restaurant, it was the abrazos abiertos, you know.
Yes.
I'm here. She was so glad to see everybody. She was so glad to see us. I felt special every time I walked in there. She had all the time in the world for us and for anybody else.
That's true. Very true. Thank you very much.